Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining for Yoga Therapy Sunday. And today our focus is lower back pain. And we're going to be using a chair and various other props, including a belt, perhaps, and a bolster, and the usual. You can use a bed pillow, you can use cushion, and you can use a scarf instead of a belt. And if you want to use a chair, it's there for you. So just finding your feet. And exhale, bend your knees, the knees tracking over the second toes. And inhale, straightening the legs and pulling up on kneecaps. Just notice if one leg you can't pull up the kneecap as well as the other. That I have learned is an indication that one leg might be longer than the other. So if that is the case, you can't pull up on one side, but you can the other. Try stepping one of your feet back and then see whether you can pull up both legs equally. So I'm stepping my right leg back because it's a little longer. Exhale, bend your knees. That affects the whole chain all the way up into the lower back and even into the upper back, those imbalances through discrepancies of leg length. Exhale, bend. Find those feet. Inhale, pulling up as if you're pulling energy up from the earth, up the chain of the spine. Exhale, bending. Feeling your feet. Inhale, pulling up. Exhale, release. Adding the arms, inhale, arms coming out, radiating like the sun. Feeling both sides of the body all the way overhead to a 12 noon sun. And let that sun turn into a waterfall of light or water coming down the body. So I'm going to use the image of light coming down, all the way down, showering me with light. All the way down the front, the sides, the back, the legs, the feet. Inhale, the light radiating out, lightening up both sides of the body. If you feel like the one side's a bit darker, use your intention to try to bring light to both sides. Feeling that 12 noon sun above you, and exhale, feel the explosion of that light down from the top of the head, third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, Maniparaka, Muladhara, Swadhisthana. Finding the Muladhara through the legs and the feet. Inhale, radiating out. Exhale, rooting down. Just doing this in your own timing, just becoming aware of how your body feels this morning. So you bring in that prana as you inhale, and exhale, root to the apana, the downward flow of energy, finding your legs and feet through the Swadhisthana, the emotional center, and the Muladhara, the root that goes into the legs, feet. You inhale, it's a bit more connection from the belly button up, from the fire in the belly all the way to the fire in the heart, and then expanding that fire up and out. As you exhale, feeling the water and the earth elements. As you inhale, feeling the air, the light, and the space elements. And just finishing up, when you feel complete with your body scan, bathing yourself in that radiance that you are. Hands at the heart. Inhale, arms at the sides. Any height that works for your body. Exhale, I'm going to bring the hands to the belly button as I chant Om. Om. Inhale, arms at the sides. Exhale, hands to the heart as I chant Om. Om. Inhale, arms coming up if it's comfortable. And exhale that Om down the front. Om. Linking the head to the heart, to the gut, to the legs, to the feet. Again, inhale, arms nice and low if that works for you. Exhale, hands to the belly. Om. Inhale, arms a little higher now, heart center, hands to the heart. Om. Inhale, call this the Hallelujah pose, the arms higher if this works for your neck and shoulders. And exhale down the front, bathing yourself with that light. Om. Last time, inhale, arms at hip height. Om. Inhale, arms at heart height. Om. Inhale, arms at head height. Om. Placing one hand at the heart and the other at the belly. You've got these two major centers of cognition, of awareness, in both the physical and subtle bodies. You drop your awareness from your head into your heart, into your gut. As you inhale, can you expand the chest from the front, side, and back, and then into the belly? Feel that back arch as you do this. Exhale, drawing from the pelvic floor up to the belly button, and then feel the chest fall, feel the head fall. You can even bend the knees to help you round the spine a little bit to feel that a bit more. Inhale, breathing into the chest, then into the belly, the heart, then into the gut, front, sides, and back. Exhale from the belly to the heart, starting with the pelvic floor, all the way zipping up towards the heart, and release the head at the end of the exhale, perhaps bend the knees. And then if you like, staying still, and can you connect, can you make an intention today, linking the heart with the gut, what arises. If you like, you can place both hands on the gut if that feels more grounded for you today. Connect just there, or you can link that spiritual heart with that belly, the nabi, the source of your embodied experience right here in the gut, the belly button, where your life began. And when you're ready, release that. So today, a subtle theme is going to be joy, and I'm going to be chanting for you at the end of the practice from the Vedas on Ananda, that eternal joy. Inhale, arms coming up, and if you like, you can come up onto the toes. Exhale, arms coming down. Inhale, arms coming front. Again, you can come onto the toes or not. Exhale. If you're finding it hard to balance, you could try using a wall. You could use a chair as a ballet bar, or a wall as a ballet bar. And I think I'm going to do that today, give myself a little bit more support. And if you're finding it too easy, you can add stays at the top. So stay a breath or two at the top and then resume. If you're holding a wall or a chair, just make sure you switch sides with your arms at some point. Just doing this in your own timing. And you can always work one arm at a time, like I'm showing now. If you have a back issue on one side, this can be a really good way to get into one side of the back at a time. So even in the center, you can play with that. And at the top, really stretch that arm up. And exhale, coming down, that gives you a bit of traction on one side versus the other. So you can play with that. The arm in the front really works your core a lot because you're bringing your center of gravity out front. You're having to fight against that as you come up. So it's actually demanding quite a bit of your core strength through your whole spine. The core is not just the pelvic floor. It's actually all the stabilizing muscles through the whole spine. All right, and just finishing up wherever you have arrived at. Exhale, hands to the heart. And again, feeling one hand at the heart, the other at the belly. What is your intention for today? For me, this belly center, it's in yoga philosophy, this is the power center. And often meditate on, may I be empowered, yet loving my hand at the heart. Because sometimes we can be very powerful, but we become arrogant, which is also the shadow side of this belly button center, is arrogance. As we increase our personal power, we want to make sure that we rest in love. Okay, moving more into the physical body again. Inhale, arms coming up. Again, you can go on the toes or not. And exhale, coming to your left side. You can stay up on the toes or release at the end, like I'm going to show. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, other side. Now we're focusing on the lower back, so I invite you to put your attention on that QL, one side or the other. And this is the kind of thing I do to prevent back spasms. I had one this week due to a tremendous amount of stress on all levels of my life hitting me. And the back will often take that. And this was the therapy I was doing primarily so I could stand straight again. Without going on the toes, I was using the wall. So I'm just going to show some of that and really sticking one hip out. And what I learned also is lifting the opposite foot can be really helpful. You can do that to get more into that QL. So that was a bit of a discovery this week, is I can lift the foot of the side I'm going to and get more into that quadratus and more I'm linking the hip with the lower back. That's usually the area that spasms when we do have back spasms due to discrepancies of leg length, like I have scoliosis, all sorts of things. And then some of you might want to stay on one side, and you can stay like this with this bent knee. You can cross that foot across. So the bent leg, you can cross that across. You can stay using the wall or a chair. Oops, chair that should be at the wall. Otherwise that doesn't work very well. Really get deeply in there, be careful. And then inhale coming up, and then we're going to go to the other side. Again, you can keep it moving as we did like that, or you can stay now. Staying is stronger. This moves into more the stiram part of yoga, that strength part. When we stay in a pose, it's much stronger. So be careful if it's too much, keep it moving. Keep the river moving, prana moving. This is all wonderful for imbalances of the hips and lower back. You can really, if you have an imbalance there, you'll feel a real stretch there. If that crosses too much, you can just lift the foot like I'm showing, bend the knee rather than crossing. So that was my discovery of the week, which was kind of fun. Always fun to discover new things. And then hopefully you feel a little bit straighter having worked the two sides of the body. Okay, so we're going to move now into our first forward bend. I'm going to use the chair, but you guys don't have to. Oh, we got a dog in the room. Good morning, doggy. Always love having dogs, children, and other beings come to our class. Bringing your left foot forward, or if you have an injury in your back, you might want that foot behind the side that's injured. You might want that foot behind so there's more space on the lower back. So for example, I have my left foot forward, my right foot back. It's giving more space for the right side of my lower back. So I'm going to show with one arm. Inhale, I'm going to bring my right arm up. This is stretching my whole right side, and exhale, I'm going to come forward. Now you can modify by bending the front knee. You can come closer to the chair, or your leg can be straight, or you can go all the way down, your choice. Inhale, coming up. So this is actually a fair amount of work in strengthening the back. Now, if it's too much, you release the arm first and come forward. If you can, move the arm in line with the ear before you come up and as you come down. I'm going to be modifying for my back today by not using the weight of my arm as much. So that's one way to always modify. So I'm going to have to be the student today and show you some of those more simple modifications. Really draw that belly in as you go in and out. And if you worked with me privately, I can't say enough about oil baths for lower back, upper back, any pain in the body. Really recommend you do that at least once a week. Heat up a little bit of sesame oil, even better. Put some fenugreek in it. Heat it on the stove till the fenugreek is brown, and then strain the oil and use that oil for massage. It's an anti-inflammatory fenugreek. Reduces vata, reduces pain. It's a simple Ayurvedic oil you can make yourself. Now, when you're ready, maybe staying in the pose. And if you like, you can play with the effect of this pose on the lower back by twisting the body one way or the other slightly. So when I twist towards my front leg, I'm getting into that right QL again. which can be very helpful. And I'm going to grab a block to help me today. So I'm having to show a lot of interesting modifications today for my own body, but I encourage you to find your own, right? You all have been practicing with me a while. So please have fun and find your own modifications. Just play in the pose, twist one side, or maybe the other side feels better for your body. Or maybe not twisting at all, maybe just being front. So I'm going to go into the whole pose now. I'm putting my head on the chair, my hands down. I could have blocks where my hands are too for more support. I'm going to make my back foot parallel to stretch my back leg. That is an option. You don't have to do that. Just feel that stretch on the front leg and the back. Back. Foot that's back, you'll feel that lower back. And when you're ready, coming up, we're just in between for fun. We're just going to do a chair downward dog. This really works the latissimus dorsi, the lats underneath the armpits, going down the sides of the back. Wonderful way to stretch the whole spine. And I've naturally, it's interesting, modified my feet already with my right foot slightly back. So again, if you have one leg longer than the other, you can always bring that foot a little bit back to balance things. And then we're going to go to the other side right away. So we're going to bring the right foot forward, the back foot turning out slightly, and then coming up and finding your standing position. Inhale, bring your left arm up, your other hand on your lower back. You can use both arms if you prefer. Exhale, forward bend. You can bend that front knee, release the hand first, or if classically keep it going all the way. I can only go to about there today, but if you can do more, please do. You can go all the way down or use the chair. Just do that in your own timing. Inhale, coming up. You can move the arm first in line with the ear, that's toughest, or let the arm trail behind. When you exhale, you can keep the arm in line with the ear or release it first to make it easier. The length of your legs apart, you can increase that length or decrease it. Decreasing it makes it easier. Increasing it makes it harder. So we want to modify on both ends depending where you're at. And you can always bend that front knee. That also can be helpful if the leg forward is a little longer than the back leg. You can bend it and it will feel better in the front hip. As you do it, you should be loosening up, doing it 4 to 6 times. When you're ready, staying in the pose. Adding both hands and then maybe twisting to one side. Now we're twisting that back hip. If you want to twist the front hip or the groin, you have to go to the other side. So that's what I'm going to do for my body today, is that version. That gets more into the inner leg of the front leg. You can do some stitchy, inhale, extend, exhale, bend. And you can always go back to your regular forward bend with your back foot parallel to the front or turned out. You can have the head on the chair. You can have your arms straight like this. You can have your head on the chair. You can use a block on the chair. And you can always bend that front knee. And when you feel ready, coming to your chair, downward facing dog. Or you can do full downward facing dog if you're not using a chair, of course. And just staying here, you can bend the knees as you exhale, getting more length in the spine, like someone's pulling your hips back. Inhale, straighten, or even come up on the toes. You play with that. You can have one leg behind the other again. You've got one leg longer, equal out the hips. Again, those leg discrepancies really affect the hips and the lower back. That can lead to pain and problems. Now from here, if you're ready, just going to do a simple cat-cow. So we're going to step forward using the chair. You can do this on your knees if you prefer. Exhale, you're going to round the spine, drawing the belly in from the pelvic floor up. Now this gets into, I was working with a client yesterday, had this problem. If you've got compression from L5 to S1, from the lower back to the sacrum, this gets into that area if you've got compression there. So drawing the belly in, tucking the tail under, you will feel perhaps some stretch in the lowest part of your spine. This is the best way I know how to do this, is actually with a chair. Inhale, we're going to bend the knees and arch the back and look forward. This is more upper back, and I'm bending the knees to get more into it. Exhale, straighten the legs, tuck the tail under, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button, chin in. Now hold after exhale. And inhale, expand, arching the spine. Now, if you have one leg that's longer than the other, again, you can bring that foot behind to even out the hips. So again, you should be able to straighten both knees as you do that exhale. If you can't, you likely have one leg that's longer than the other. I can't say enough about how that affects the whole spine. Again, that's very common in scoliosis with the concave side of the lower back. If you know which one that is, probably you have to move that leg, that foot back a bit. Doing a hold after exhale, zipping up from the pelvic floor down. This is getting into that L5 to S1 area, right down the sacrum to the tailbone. And last time, okay, we're gonna add more to that one later. Okay, we're going to do a back arch after all those more forward bend type poses. So just notice how you feel before you move to the rest. So I'm always amazed how tall I feel after only about 30 minutes of yoga. Do you have that feeling like you're about an inch taller? Because you've just decompressed your spine. So that's pretty cool. That's something you want to be doing every day as much as possible, right? Got lots of videos you can do while I'm away next week. So, or if I've made you a practice, always try to go back to that. That's a practice just for you. So bringing your left foot forward, your right foot turned out. Just those props there. Okay, so for this one, I have the arms at the side. So actually I'm going to go off my mat, so I have a bit more room here to move. I want the arms to go at the side for this one eventually. So we're going to do two movements of the spine, upper back and lower back. So inhale, coming forward. Oh, no, I don't think I'm going to be doing that today. All right, you're just going to do the main arch. Inhale, arms coming up front. Sorry, I should have tested this one on my body first. Inhale, arms coming up, just regular warrior one there. And exhale, release. Now, some of you might want to do, instead of that, you might want to bring one arm or both arms forward to decompress one side of the back at a time. So I'm going to give you two options. Inhale, either both or one arm up, warrior one, arching the whole spine, exhale, release, or lunging slightly forward, the opposite arm to leg, extending and stretching through the whole side of the body. That's my right side, really stretching. You can go back and forth between the two. That's what I'm going to do. And if you have one side of your body that hurts more than the other in your lower back, you can start with that foot back. So the hard side. You put that foot back, it'll give you a bit of relief, probably. This is good for mild bulging discs as you try to get them to reabsorb. Usually arching the spine can be helpful for working with bulging discs. Doing around 6 rounds. A round is the warrior one, regular, and traction warrior one. Resist that exhale using your core strength to do it. And just finishing up. So just so you know, for those of you also who have had back spasms in your life, this is the pose that I always do a whole bunch of for several days, holding on to something to stretch one side at a time of the back. Let's go to the other side, whatever side that is for you. So inhale, warrior one. Exhale, release. Inhale, right foot forward, left foot extending, or you might be doing the other side, and stretch the fingertips as much as possible, like someone's pulling them to stretch that whole side of the left spine. Exhale, release. And just keep that going in your own timing. So this back arch again is for mild bulges of disc, can be helpful. Also, Dvipadipedam bridge, that's another one. Doing 6 rounds of this. When you finished, you can just do a regular forward bend to relax, or just stay in samastiti. That's 3 for me. Each inhale and exhale, you want to be 4 to 5 seconds, if possible, and maybe longer. Resisting that exhale, using your core strength. So we're working just the lower back here. I was going to do upper and lower, but we're just doing the lower back here. And you're probably getting pretty close to finishing. This is my 6th round. And when you're ready, stepping back, or if it's not possible, you can always step forward. I'm going to step forward today because of that injury for me. And just finding your feet, your samastiti. Again, notice how you're feeling in your body. Okay, we're going to do some hip balancing, which again, I did for the hip classes, but also for lower back class. I'm going to start with the chair. You don't have to use the chair. We're going to do Ardha Utkatasana. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, sitting down, finding that chair. Make sure you don't fall. Inhale, move the arms first and come up. You can do that, or do it in the center of the room, which is actually easier. So I'm going to do that today for me because it's going to be easier for my body today. Exhale, coming halfway down, release the hands and sit down. Now, if you've got that leg discrepancy, again, play with staggering those feet. This is for the ankles, the knees, the hips, and the lower back. Let's do a land acknowledgement if that speaks to you. So acknowledging that I'm here on seashell lands on the Sunshine Coast of British Columbia. And there's a reservation of the Sacsayhuaman people just up the street from me, and this was sacred land where I live, where winter ceremonies were done for youth coming of age, both men and women, just in the mountain behind me, Mount Daniel Mountain. So if you have any of those stories, you can bring those to mind in your own land. Connecting to the actual land you're on, thinking of the land. And acknowledging the land that yoga is from, India. This particular lineage from Tibet, which used to be part of India. Shvacharya learned it there, and then he took it to South India, to Mysore first, and then Chennai, its final home, which is where I learned this. Bring these embodied metaphors into your body. And finishing up. Okay, so lots to work with there for balancing the hips. All right. So from here, we are going to move a little bit into the Parshva and Parivriti versions of things. I'm going to do this a little bit differently today. We prepared for this. So we're going to bring your left foot forward and your right foot back. So Parshva is one side at a time, and then we're going to do a twist. We're going to do a Trikonasana Parivriti, if this works for you. Inhale. I've got my left foot forward. Inhale, right arm coming up. Exhale, I'm going to bring that hand to my chair. You can go to the floor or the hand to a block if you prefer. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting towards that front leg. That hand can be on the lower back, or it could be at the sky. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, starting position. So that's our vinyasa, and then we're going to stay eventually. So opposite arm to front leg. Inhale, arm coming up. This is a combination of Desavachara and Iyengar. Exhale, extend, finding your place. Again, you can drop that hand earlier if it's too much strain on the back. You can go all the way to your forward bend or just halfway down. So that's your exhale. Inhale, lengthen the spine, sthiti. Exhale, twist towards the left. Now you can have that top arm up if you want. Inhale, untwist. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, starting position. Third time, inhale, arm coming up. So focusing on the lower back, so I'm focusing on the right side of my lower back. Exhale, extending the right side of my lower back. Just feel into that whole side being stretched. Inhale, lengthening, especially the right side of the lower back. Exhale, twisting. Now, you're probably now going to feel more the left hip opening and the left lower back. Inhale, untwist. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, coming up, you can move the arm in line with the ear right away or after, like I'm showing today to make it easier. Exhale, starting position. Fourth and last time. Inhale, arm coming up. Exhale, extend long. At what point does your back tell you to bring your hand down? Inhale, sthiti, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting. Now we're going to stay here if it's comfortable, just staying in this twist. You can bring the hand up. You can bring that front hand, that right hand across to make it harder. If you're on the floor, you could have a block under the hand. I'm using a chair today as a modification for my body. You can make it harder by coming closer to the floor. Try to align those shoulders, and I'm stretching that left hip into the left lower back, IT band. Now try to draw that left hip back, twisting towards the front leg. When you're ready, you're going to untwist, and you're going to stay on that forward bend for a minute. You can bend the front knee or have it straight. Again, you can be all the way down or head on the chair and release the arms. Modification, arms straight. This might be your pose. You have blocks under your head as well. I'm going to make my back foot parallel to the front. When you're ready from here, coming to chair, downward facing dog, or if you're on the floor, downward facing dog on the floor. Stretching the two sides of the back from the armpits all the way down to the hips. You can bend the knees to increase that. You can stagger those feet, longer leg behind a little bit. That's what I'm showing. Evening up the hips, and when you bend the knees, you probably feel it more in the lower back. When you're ready, bringing that right foot forward and the left foot turned out slightly and coming up. Do this on the other side. Now, just a warning here with these twists. So if you have SI joint issues, these kinds of poses might be contraindicated, but using a chair will make the twist more upper than lower back, so it decreases the effect. So that's one thing. So if this doesn't work for you, you can just do Parshva Uttanasana up and down rather than adding the twist, okay? So just listen to your back, see what it's telling you now, whether it's happy with this choice. Inhale, left arm coming up, extending, it just depends on the back. Exhale, extend, also with bulging discs, you don't want to be doing twists. Inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting towards the right. I'm leaving my hand down. Inhale, untwist. Exhale, forward bend. Again, you can bend that front knee. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, starting position. Inhale, left arm coming up. Exhale, extending forward. Again, you're welcome to bend the front knee or not. It's always to make it easier. Inhale, lengthen the spine, sthiti. Exhale, twisting. Again, you can add the arm if you want. Draw that right hip back. It will want to go forward, draw it back. Inhale, untwist. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, coming up. Harder to move with the arm moving first. I'm moving it second to make it easier. Exhale, release, hand coming down. Third time, inhale, arm coming up. Exhale, extending nice and long. Again, you can always bend that front knee if it feels better. Inhale, halfway, stiff-T. Exhale, twisting towards your front leg. Draw the hip back. Inhale, untwist. You have the hand up, bring it back. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, starting position. Last time, and on this fourth time, we're going to stay. Inhale, arm coming up. Some of you taking a break, that's good. Exhale, release. You can always take those breaks if your body tells you to, of course. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, twist to your right. Now you're going to stay here. Now that arm can be up or it can be down. If it's down, it's easier. I'm going to put the palm facing down to loop that shoulder back. Draw that right hip back. Draw the belly in. You will want to hang out. This is working on that right IT band, lower back. Focus on long exhale. When you're ready, inhale, untwist. Exhale, forward bend. Just stay here as a counter. Find your pose. I would keep it neutral rather than twisting it as we did earlier. I've got my head on chair. You can have it on blocks. You can have the arms straight like this. You could have your hands on blocks or fingertips without using the chair. Always bend that front knee. And when you're ready, stepping into your chair, downward facing dog. Now from here, if you feel ready with your body, coming forward into plank, just strengthening for the core, or upward facing dog, lifting away, spining how that is today. Exhale, coming back. So I can tell you that first couple of days of my back spasm, I sure couldn't do this. I was doing like little cobras at the wall. So it's been a very interesting journey in remembering all the basic material of yoga therapy. But if you can, tucking that tail under like we did in the cat-cow, and you do that with the up dog and the down dog. So inhale into the chest, keep the chin in, and then to the belly, and then tuck the tail under, and at the end of the inhale, lift the head. As you exhale, tuck the tail under, bring the chin in, at the same time closing the two sides of the container from Muladhara to your chin lock, Jalandhara Bandha. The Shuti chakra, the neck, the Shuti Anahata, the heart opening. This is too much. You can always do cat-cow at the chair instead, as we did earlier. Just do the plank. If your back prefers not to arch, you can just do that plank, lifting away from the chair. Lift away, bring the hips forward. Exhale, coming back. And staying in your downward facing dog. And you can stagger those feet. You've got one leg longer than the other, bring it slightly back. And maybe bring the hips side to side to get again into those QLs, quadratus lumborum, where the hip meets the lower back. You might feel it in your upper back, if that's your tight spot. Very helpful for the hips and the lower back, this kind of movement. It's obviously modification. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And when you're ready, stepping forward, taking your time to come up and finding your samastiti, and hopefully feeling a little bit taller still. Okay, that was our last piece before we head to the floor. So, as I said, the benefit of having an injury always, for me as a yoga teacher, yoga therapist, is that it brings you back to being in the student place, and it's been a kind of a fun week in that way. When you're ready, moving that chair, and you're going to head down to the floor. And we're going to do a lot of the same movements of the spine, but now on the back. So we're going to start with cat-cow on the knees, if this works for your body. If it doesn't, you can try putting a blanket underneath the knees. You can put another mat underneath knees. You could put the soft blocks under the knees. For the wrists, you can make fists, if that works better for you. And another nice modification is actually blocks under the hands. So I'm going to do that today to make my torso a little bit longer, and I'm going to do them on the sides. This has just been something I've been experimenting with this week. So exhale, pressing away, and inhale, arching the spine. Put it on that lower level. You can play with that. And tuck that tail under as much as possible. And inhale, lifting. This also can be good if you've got wrist issues, what I'm showing right now with the blocks. Again, you can stagger those legs if you've got that one hip that's higher than the other, leg that's longer. You can add the bend of the elbows to get more into the middle back on that inhale, drawing the elbows close in towards your chest. And then exhale, release. Now, another thing I'm going to add on is a bit of a traction for the lower back. Inhale, lifting the spine, drawing those elbows back, bending the elbows. Exhale, stretching the spine, the cat stretch, and then coming back towards child to stretch even further. Inhale, lifting the spine. Your arms can be straight or bent. Exhale, cat stretch. Tuck the tail under, head down. Inhale, lifting the cat. And exhale, coming back into the cat stretch and back all the way to child. Inhale, lifting the cat, Chakravartasana. So the elbows bent or straight. Exhale, stretching the cat. Tuck the tail under, stretch the lowest part of the back. Inhale, lifting the cat. Draw the elbows towards your feet. And exhale, go into that cat stretch and then extend it by going all the way back. Last time, inhale, arching the spine. Exhale, contracting the spine. Inhale, arching the spine. Exhale, child's pose. We're going to stay here. Another stretch for the lower back for many people. You can use those actually blocks if you like. That can be a nice modification. You can also bring the hands to one side or the other of both to stretch one side of the lower back versus the other. I'm just going to do one side. I'm stretching my right side because that's where I had my spasm this week, but you're welcome to do both sides. For those of you with scoliosis, concavity on the right side of your lower back, you bring your hands left. If it's the left side, bring your hands right. We're able to, coming back to the center. Again, I've got one leg behind the other to deal with hip length, one hip higher than the other. Higher hip, you bring that knee slightly back. And when you're ready, carefully coming onto your back. Have your props nearby. Okay. So just notice whether your back wants to have your knees bent, whether that feels better or straight feels better. Let's do a little test. You can always put a soft block under the hips to increase the back arch. So if you've got a lot of lordosis in your back, it's going to just help decrease that sway back by adding this block. And play with that, see what that feels like. Okay, so you can be like this, or you can have one leg straight and the other bent. That's what I'm going to show. So I'm showing, this would be your left or your right side. I'm showing my right straight. And my left is bent. You can have both legs straight if you prefer. I've also got a block under my hips, no higher than my lower, than my waist. Inhale, the right arm coming up, stretching nice and long. Exhale, bringing the arm down. Now you can point and flex the toes as you do this if you prefer, for some nerve flossing. If you've got some nerve stuff going on like sciatica, you can point and flex that foot. I've just got my foot at the wall. I'm stretching my right hand far away to stretch that whole side of the spine. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in as you bring the arm down. You can also do this with your buttocks on a bolster for an even deeper stretch of the lower back. This could be useful for, again, a mildly bulging disc situation. Slight, very slight back arch. When you exhale, you're using your core strength to resist that hand coming down. Doing this 6 to 8 times. And then if it's comfortable, staying in the full pose and just breathing here. This is a little bit, looks a little bit more like Setu Bandhasana. It's a form of bridge. So again, you could have more blocks, you could have a bolster under you. Both legs are straight. It's, again, full pose would be this. If the bolster is under me, it definitely looks like Setu Bandhasana from Iyengar Yoga, or a version of Tadaka Mudra. Switching sides. Then you could have both legs straight instead. You could move both arms. I'm doing one side of the back at a time. My left leg is extended. My left arm is coming up, and I'm stretching the whole left side of the back and hip. And exhale, coming down. Resist that exhale. Use your core strength to move the arm down and even up. Inhale, breathing chest to belly. Exhale, belly to chest. Doing this 6 to 8 times. Inhale, extend. Exhale, relax. On the inhale, stretching the hand away. You can be pointing and flexing the toes of that left leg to get some nerve flossing going in that leg if that speaks to you. It's good for sciatica, likely. Starting to exhale before you move, still exhaling at the end of the movement. Starting to inhale before you start to move, still inhaling at the end of the movement. Pause between inhale and exhale. When you're ready, staying in the full pose, you have that right leg bent if you like, or it could be straight. Got it bent, you're just working the left side. If it's comfortable, bring the arm down and maybe using both legs. If it's not comfortable, just do one of the other sides, one of the sides that you want to do a bit more on, just do that again. So if you can, working both arms, inhale up, so exhale down, or just staying here, your choice. I'm going to do a few repeats first. If you're repeating, maybe stay now. Take a break anytime. Work on a long exhale. from the pelvic floor all the way to the belly button. Now, as you exhale, feel the lower back sink into that block or pillow under the hips. As you inhale, it will move away. Inhale is back arch, exhale is more contraction. A little bit more of that forward bend movement, or the beginning of it, just contracting. And when you're ready, hands coming down as you exhale. Bending one knee at a time. Removing that block or keeping it as you do asana. So I'm going to keep mine. Just bring it a little bit higher and bring one knee at a time into the chest. Now you can do one knee at a time for asana for lower back issues. So that can be very helpful. You can do it with the other leg straight as well. So I'm going to show that, or you can do both legs. So I'm going to start with my left. Exhale, bending the knee into the chest, inhale away. Or you can have that other leg bent, or you can just stay in the pose. So I'm going to show that version. Stretching the opposite hip as you're compressing one side of the lower back. You can move in and out or just stay now. When you're ready, switching sides. Again, one leg can be bent, the other straight. You can move in and out, inhale, lengthen, exhale in, or just stay. One leg straight or bent, and the other into your chest. And then perhaps bringing both knees into the chest. When staying here or moving, inhale, knees away. Exhale, knees towards you, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. And I'm going to do a hold after exhale. Again, you could just be hugging your knees and staying if you prefer. Now, the reason I have this block under the lower back is to increase the rounding of the lowest part of the back from the L5 to the S1 and down the sacrum into the tail. It's really hard to access that piece without doing cat-cow or this position. I find the block really helps stretch the lowest part of the back. For many people, this area is compressed. You might have stenosis, it's called. You've had that diagnosis, compression of the lower back. I was working with a client yesterday, student 101, had stenosis in that lower part of the back. We're doing this kind of thing. Just staying in the pose if that works. Again, if you've got one side different than the other, you might want one knee down, one leg down. That might feel better for your lower back. When you're ready, releasing the pose. Remove that block. Okay. So you can do Dvipadipedam if you want a bridge. You can take a block between your legs. We're going to work the lowest part of the spine first. Exhale, squeezing into that block, tucking the tail under and lifting just from the waist up. So, sorry, the waist down, just the hips off the ground. And inhale, release. Exhale, stay. Tuck the tail under, squeeze the block. Now inhale, stay in the pose if you can. And exhale, come out of it. So if you can, at that one breath, stay, do that. Exhale, we're just so moving just on exhale. Exhale, lifting just the hips up. The upper back is on the ground. Exhale, squeeze into the block. Inhale, coming out. So you can keep doing this, or you can do the full Dvipadipedam, the bridge. Exhale, squeeze the block, tuck the tail under, just lift those hips off the ground. Inhale, stay, maybe lift a little higher now. Exhale, squeeze the block and come down. Inhale. Exhale, tuck the tail under, squeeze the block. Inhale, lift the hips a little higher if you can. Exhale, squeeze the block and come down. Inhale, rest. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button, and squeeze the block. Lift just the hips off. Inhale, lift higher. Now I'm not lifting very high today, but you can lift into full bridge if you can. Exhale, squeeze the block, come down. Inhale, release. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Lift the hips off the ground. Inhale, lift a little higher if you can. Exhale, rolling down. Inhale, rest, release. Last time, exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button, and squeeze the block, lift the hips. Inhale, lifting a little higher if you can, press into those feet. Exhale, squeeze the block, roll down. Inhale, release. Okay, now I'm going to invite you to bring one foot forward. Now, if you have one leg that's longer than the other, you're going to leave that foot behind and the other foot is going to go forward. Or you can have your feet balanced if you don't have any discrepancy between your hips. In this position, you're going to lift the hips up. You can leave your arms down, or same arm as the foot that's forward, you're going to bring that up. Exhale, come down. Now, this is how I normally do the pose, but today my back is telling me it wants the opposite because it wants to make the other side easier. So you can also do that, which is interesting to remember. So inhale, lift the hip up. And arm coming up, same side as that foot that's forward. And exhale, rolling the spine down. Now you can leave that hand up above you to get traction through that whole side of the spine you're working with. And you can leave it there, or at the end of exhale, bring it down. Inhale, lift the hips up, maybe add the arm, extend that stretch. Exhale, rolling down, stretch the hand away. So you bring the spine down, upper back, middle back, lower back, and hand down at the end. Inhale, lifting the hips, bringing same arm as that foot that's forward up. You might be using both arms if you don't have the difference between your hips. Exhale, stretching down. It's like someone's pulling your hands or that one hand, and release. Last time, inhale, lifting the hip up, bring the arm up, press into the foot that's closest to your buttocks, really press into it to help you lift higher, and exhale, rolling down. And release. Okay, so as a counter pose, we are going to do Jatra Parivriti, but we're going to do one knee down at a time. So inhale, center, exhale, one knee down. Inhale, center, exhale, the other knee down. So this feels really easy for you. You can try staying in the pose like this. And for those of you who knows Supta Virasana, you can also do that. So I'm going to show that for those of you who want to do a harder version of this. Start with your easy side. I'm going to actually start with the side closest to you so you can see what I'm doing. So this pose can be really intense. So do not do this if you have a knee problem or you know this doesn't work for your body. Just do what I showed earlier. Just do the scissor side to side or stay. Otherwise, if you think you can do this, go for it. And I like to leave one leg bent. You can also the opposite side. So I've got my right foot in beside my hip. I'm putting my left hand under my left buttocks. This is a very intense stretch of the thigh and into the lower back. Just be careful. This is a deep psoas stretch. A lot of lower back problems are caused by tightness in the thigh and psoas. So that's what we're working with. I don't show this very often, but I know a few of you in the class will be able to do this. So I'm showing this. You can bring that same arm up. We've really prepared for this today, so I thought, why not? And here we are. Just breathing here. You can do that scissor side to side or just stay in the windshield wiper pose that you all know on one side, and then when we do the other, you can switch sides. So that's the other modification. And when you're ready, switching sides, either the scissor pose that I showed you, the windshield wiper, or you can do this. This is Supta Virasana, and I've been reminded because of my injury how effective this is at getting at the psoas in my own body. So again, as one of my dance teachers in Toronto said, when I badly sprained my left ankle very badly when I was dancing in my 20s, I was so mortified. I was on crutches, and she just said, this injury will teach you many things. And it was the beginning of my yoga therapy career, I would say. So obviously it taught me many things. So I have learned best way to handle life is just let it all flow and accept whatever it is, even if it seems it's bad. It's only thinking that makes anything bad, right? So accept it all with the grin of the Cheshire cat, and just allow it to come. So I'm being careful how I come down today. Be careful. This can be too much for the knees. So again, do not do this. If you have a knee problem that is screaming right now, please do not do this. That right leg can be extended. I'm bringing the left arm off the same arm as my stretched thigh. I've got the right hand underneath my right buttocks. And just breathe here. Another modification I play with for the scoliosis folks is opening up that knee, that right knee, like this. So again, this starts to look a lot more like the windshield wiper pose. You can try that. That is good if you have a rotation in your hips due to scoliosis or something else. You can derotate. So with scoliosis, the hips are rotated towards that convex side, usually the left. So I'm doing a modification to derotate right now. You can play with, but just keep that leg center. So think of that smiling Buddha, that Cheshire cat, that smile that comes from just accepting what is in your life, not grinning and bearing it, but smiling at the irony of it all and the gifts of every moment, even when it seems challenging. As my teacher Sridhar says, when I said, when I have a bad day, blah, 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 he said, I never have a bad day. I said, what? He said, I take life easy, meaning he takes life as it comes and doesn't resist, doesn't do the Dvaisha Klesha. When you're ready, coming out of this pose, we're going to move into our final position. So let us do a counter pose for this. Whatever counter pose works for you, knees to chest, you can move in and out of it. This would be a simple counter that might be recommended, or see if I can do this today, holding under the thighs or holding the feet in a happy baby pose. This one decompresses that lowest part of the back that we've been working with today a bit. And you can inhale, stretch, exhale, bend. You could hold your feet in a belt and do this to make your arms longer. You can hold underneath the thighs and just hug the thighs too. That's a nice way to do this. Inhale, straighten, exhale, bend, or just stay. You can hold the big toes and do this too. I like to hold the little toe side of the foot. When you feel complete, move into your Shavasana any way you like. And I am going to, I'm just so excited that I can now do what I just did. A few days ago, I could not. So yoga works, is all I can say. I'm going to be chanting for you about endless joy. As my sub-theme today is joy. And joy, this joy that I'm talking about, ananda, is not a joy of sukham, which is the opposite of dukkam. This is a joy beyond polarities. So the yogis talk about transcending the opposites. It's actually mentioned in the Yoga Sutra in the context of the poses, the asanas, surprisingly. It says, by cultivating that balance between stiram and sukham, that softness and strength, by cultivating that through an effortless effort, we sink into this infinite harmony, ananta. And in that state of ananta, not ananda, but ananta, harmony, the opposites of life no longer trigger us. And then when you go further in the Yoga Sutra, you get to a state called Kaivalyam, freedom. And this is what we're talking about today, this ananda, this joy that is endless, that is beyond the opposites, that stays with you through the storms of life, holds you in your center. Ananda, endless joy. Om. Sahana bhavatu. Sahanau punaktu. Sahaviryam karavavahai. Tejasvidavati tamastu. Mahavishravahai. Om Shanti 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 Brahmavidapnoti param Tadesha Vyukta Satyam Jnanamanantam Brahma Yo Vedanihitam Guhayam Parame Yoman Soshnute Saravan Kaman Saha Brahmana Vipashchiteti Tasmadva Etasmadatmana Akasha Sampurtaha Akashad Vayuhu Vayoragnihi Agnerapaha Adpya Prithvi Prithivya Oshadayaha Oshadibhyo Annat Purushaha Sama Esha Purusho Narasamayaha Tas Yedameva Shiraha Ayandakshina Pakshaha Ayamuttara Pakshaha Ayamatma Idam Pucham Pratishta Tadap Yesha Shloko Bhavati Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavati Tamastu Mahavishravahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. May we be protected May we be nourished with endless joy. May we be filled with energy, light, dispelling all darkness, all misunderstandings between us. May we have peace in our thoughts, in our words, in our actions, in our bodies, in our speech, in our minds. May this peace, this shanti, protect us from any negativity within ourselves, others, or our environment. Namaste, namaskaram. Thank you